Welcome everybody, it's just JT here with my new build video for ESO Online. Today we are showcasing the 1-bar PvP Mag Warden. Alright, let's get right into it. First thing, I know everybody's going to be, well, what's the gear? So, let's get straight to it. The gear we are using is based off of one arena weapon, which is the Master's Perfected Ice Staff. We are using a Berserker weapon damage enchant, sharpened for a little bit of pen, and then going over the set itself, you get 103 weapon and spell damage, and then the main thing that we use it for is 1, your destructive touch is reduced by 10% in cost, and you increase your weapon and spell damage for 600 for 4 seconds. This is our spammable. We will be using this all the time. Usually it'll be a destructive touch and a heavy attack to maintain. Okay, so there's our arena weapon. The rest is based off of Ice Furnace. Ice Furnace gives you max magicka, crit chance, weapon and spell, and then when you deal frost damage, you deal an additional 1283 flame damage to all enemies from the initial target. Now, granted that the destructive is magic damage, but because it's a frost staff, your lights, your heavies, everything that you do with frost is going to do additional damage, and that's what we base it off of. It doesn't seem like the 1283 is a big deal, but it hits a lot harder in content than you would think. So we're going to do a 5-piece of this. This is heavy. So you have 3 choices. You can do 3 on the body, and if you're going to do 3 heavy on the body, unlike what I show here, do the head, the chest, and the legs. All reinforced. That's going to give you the best resistances. So if you do 3 heavy on the body, the rest will be medium. You can also just get away with doing 2 heavy on the body and 5 medium. On this one, just because it's what I got when I was building it, I actually have 2 Ice Furnace on the neck and the ring, mainly because when I was farming it, I was lucky enough to get purple rings, and I didn't want to use zircon to do everything with. So ideally you can get two rings by farming it, use your 50 to transmute, and then run legs and chest in the Ice Furnace, reinforced, health enchants, go from there. Again, for the enchants, you're going to go mainly health on all big pieces, stamina on small pieces. You want to make sure you're at 31,000 health before any passive from the Warden kicks in. Okay, and then on, like I said, reinforced for your heavy pieces that you're going to do. Then I did 2 end pins because nobody I know runs Rallying Cry that I play with, so I need a little bit of end pin, especially with those Sorks out there with Mage's Wrath popping on you. And then the other 2 I do well fitted just to help with a couple roll dodges here and there to reduce that. On the jewelry, we are going to use 1 infused weapon and spell to get that up, and then here's 2 infused reduced spell cost. These are more effective than stacking recovery. So along with 2,000 recovery, which we're going to get, and I'll show you that in a minute, reducing the cost by another 600 of all of your magic abilities, which is pretty much everything we do except for one ability, Vigor. So this is tremendous help. Okay, so now that we've gone over the sets, oh, and also I apologize, we will be using Oakensole. That is our 1 bar. If you're not familiar with that, you get a lot of major and minor that you would normally have to self-buff. They are just passive. And in this build, we are using skills and potions that will give us benefits that are not in the Oaken Soul. Alright, now the character itself. Race does not matter. There's a ton of races that you can use. I went with Dark Elf just because it has max Magicka Stam, spell, and weapon damage, and it has a little more fire resistance against those DKs out there. But feel free to play around with whatever you want on that. So our base stats are, with our food, which I'll go over in a minute, is 24/9 Magicka, 31 health, that is before the Warden passive, and 15/5, 15/6 in stamina. Recovery 1692, stamina recovery 732. Spell damage and weapon damage 43. Crit, a little bit over 25. Pen, almost 4. That's from that sharpened weapon. Spell resist 23/6 and crit 1568. We are a vamp at the first part. I'm going to show you with and without vampire, depending, because some people just don't really like vampire. If you're running vampire, we're going to be a stage 3, which is going to increase our regular abilities a little bit, but the one vampire skill we use will be less. Also, at the stage 3 vampire, when you look at the passives, the reason that we use it is from sneak, invisibility, or misform, you gain weapon and spell damage of 300. That and the undeath passive reduces your damage taken by up to 30% based on your missing health. So it's makes you a little bit more survivable on that last minute. The reason that I have it on here, because of the new patch, the Miss skill is really fun to play with, and it gives us extra weapon and spell damage. And the Miss skill that I'm talking about is Elusive Mist, and we'll go over the skills here in a little bit. So, back to the character itself. Our food, there it is Red Frothgar. It is an interesting food. It gives us max health of almost 5,000, magic recovery of 451, which is a very good magic recovery. Now, when you go into your inventory and you look at this, the tooltip looks bigger than it really is. It shows 53.95 and 493 for the recovery, but because it's a level 1 food, you do not get all of those stats, so you have to go by what it actually gives you. Alright, back to it. Now on the character, we are also running the Atronach for our Mundus. Again, that's just to help with the magic recovery. So everything that we have is based around reduced costs and then magic recovery. In a longer fight, without that, you're going to run out so fast and you're dead. If you can't spam your heals and you can't get away, you're dead. So there you go. Now, that was all base. So everything changes a little bit when we use our potion and our skills. Now, Elusive Mist only lasts for like 6 seconds, so it's hard to see. But I will try to show you real quick. So if you use your Elusive Mist and then you go into your character, and I was not prepared for it, so we'll have to do it one more time. Right now, your spell damage is 43.79. Let's do it one more time. We missed, and you see it's 47.63. Automatically hits. Now that stacks on top of the 700 that we're going to get from our perfected arena weapon. So all of that stacks really well. Then I'm going to go back into our inventory. What's also going to stack is our last part of our build, which is our monster helm. The Balrog's set, again, you can do this in one heavy for the head or medium. That's what I had, that's what I'm using. And then the shoulders. You get extra weapon and spell damage, and then when you use your ultimate, you get weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of the ultimate consumed, and pen equal to 23 times the amount for 12 seconds. If you can, you want to wait until you have a 500 stack of your ultimate, like I almost have it. With that, your spell damage with all your buffs is going to go over 7,000, and your penetration is, along with if a shock hits, your pin that you have, and you're well over 20,000 in penetration. That's your big burst combo, is using it along with your other toolkit. Alright, now let's get back. So, we've gone over our inventory on our sets. We are using 2-piece battle roars. We are using Train E, that's the last part. Train E you can fill in wherever you want. You're going to have Ice Furnace as your one set, Oaken Soul, 2 pieces of Train E for that extra health and magicka, your monster set, and your Master's Perfected Ice Staff. Remember, you don't have to have Perfected, but you do need the Masters. Alright, so that's all the gear. It's the base stats that we're doing. Food, Mundus. So now we're going to get into the skills. Alright, everybody always wants to know what passives they're going to put in. If you're a vampire, put in all the vampire passives. We don't care about fighters, mages. Undaunted, yes. Undaunted is great. You don't have to have it, but I would. Assault and support, get as much as you can. I don't even know. But the continuous attack is a huge part because you want that extra spell damage and recovery after you take a lumber mill in Cyrodiil. Also, the Major Gallop is a huge part. Everything in here is great. You know, you want the reach for the longer, for the destructive reach ability. Support's great, and of course you want to get all your passives from your racial. Then when we go up further, you'll need heavy and medium armor passives. You don't need the light, but you will need the heavy and medium because that's all you're running. Destructive staff, we are going to do all of them, including Trifocus. A lot of people don't put on the Trifocus because they want to use stamina to block, but we only have enough stamina to do 2 roll dodges and get out of town. That's it. So with our magic recovery, we want to actually have Trifocus on. So you're going to take all of your passives with the destructive. Then, of course, get all of your Warden passives. Just get them all. Don't overthink it. You know, everything in here is going to help. Your ultimate, because of the shocks, is great. Again, you know, magic stam recovery, critical damage. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of that because we're only using the one, but it's still there. Your healing passives, everything in here. Increases chilled status effect, spell resist, snares. You see what I'm saying? Get them all. Alright. Now, we're going to go over the skills themselves. First off, our rotation is based off around using Deep Fissure. Now, the other morph is faster and can do a little bit more damage, it seems like, but we're using it for the major and minor breach on our enemies. We don't know if anybody's going to be using caltrops or anything else, so when you're running by yourself, this is the best morph to have. Alright, next, we are going to be running from the Destruction Staff our Reach, Destructive Reach. Does upfront magic damage and an additional dot. It will always apply the elemental status effect. We use this with the Ice Staff to get ice damage, and with that and our light and heavies, we'll proc our other set. Now, on the Vampire, if you're going to run Vampire, you're going to use Elusive Mist. This is a really cool skill on this patch. If you're on Xbox, it'll be coming out real shortly. But what it does is it now teleports you almost in a streak. 3 projectiles do no damage for 1 second as you dash forward. But here's what we really like about this. You gain Major Expedition, which is not in your normal toolkit except for, I'll show you later, on the non-vampire. And here is Minor Evasion for 3 seconds. So Major Expedition, Major Evasion. This is your, I'm in trouble, I gotta get out of here. Now, again, casting within 4 seconds costs more magicka, but because of our reduced costs and our recovery, it is almost spammable. So you can get 3 pretty quickly. And what you're going to do is in Cyrodiil, you're going to use that to get away from people, get around, to where you can hide for a second, get your stats back up, and go. And again, with the vampire, it also increases our weapon and spell damage. Every time you come out of this, if you are stage 2 or higher, it will give you 300 weapon and spell damage. So it is super useful. But mainly used, if you're going into a fight, you can use it before you get there to get that extra weapon and spell damage. But it is a great tool to get away from people. And it's fun. It's really fun. Now, if you do not want to be a vampire, we will go in here and we will go and replace this with Deceptive Predator. Now, this is really good too, because it gives 2 animal companions on your bar, which does increase some things, and you get snare immunity and Major Expedition, just like you did with the other one, but you get Minor Evasion. So you're trading Minor Evasion for Major Evasion, but you don't have the vampire negatives, but you also don't have the vampire positives. If you don't like being a vampire, get rid of it, or go to stage 1 and put Deceptive Predator on. You can use it both ways. Both are super effective. So, your choice. I'm going to put Vampire back on, because that's what I'm using right now. But again, your choice. Okay. Then we are using the Assault skill, Resolving Vigor. The reason we're using Resolving Vigor is we already have Major Resolve, but by using this, we get Minor Resolve. So that gives us Major and Minor Resolve for the best resistances you can have. This is a, it's almost like a burst hot, because it's only over 5 seconds. So there's no reason to reapply it all the time. Also, your Minor Resolve lasts for 20 seconds. So you can pop it well before you need and let it heal you up. And you can keep it going at all time. It's our only stamina skill besides roll dodging. So you have enough for like 2 roll dodges and a vigor. Also, our last skill before our ultimate is going to be one of the main things that we use. It is our spammable heal, Arctic Blast. It instantly heals you for 10,000 health. Now, again, in Cyrodiil, it's going to be halved, but it still bursts for a lot in Cyrodiil. It's going to last for 20 seconds, doing frost damage every 2 seconds. But the main thing that we use it for is the stun. So, let me go in here. Alright, we'll see these zombies here. We're going to come up on them and automatically stunned. So, and that's every enemy that hasn't been stunned. So you can just pop it and it'll stun them over and over again. There you go. So, we use that as part of our burst combo, which I will get into in a minute. Alright, next. Last skill is our ultimate, and our ultimate is Northern Storm. This does more damage than any ultimate I've seen for tick damage. 41 frost damage every 8 seconds. 1 second for 8 seconds. Now that again is halved, but this thing hits like a Mack truck. If you can wait until you have a 500 stack with your monster set that is going to buff weapon and spell and pin, along with this increasing your weapon and spell damage, it hits like a Mack truck. It will wipe groups. The other part of this is you and your allies gain major protection. So by using that, we have minor protection with Oaken Soul. By using this, we have major and minor protection. Then we have major and minor resolve. All of those things make you survivable. Now, are you going to survive a bit against the sweaties of the sweaties? Yes, you will, for an amount of time until you run out of magicka, and then you will die horribly. Don't worry about it. Everybody does. This is not I would call this a great solo and group play. Not if you're wanting to 1vx people and be the super sweaty, Cyrodiil Lord of Destruction. But if you want to have a great build that is easy to use, fun to play, and you can hang with the best of the best, this is the build for you. Alright, so we have now gone over our skills, our passive. Now everybody's going to be like, well, what is your champion points? Well, this is sort of up to you. I'm going to give you what I use, but feel free to change this up to what suits you the best. Now, in the blue tree, we are going with just weapon and spell damage to the damaging abilities. That does not show up on your tool tip. It is secondary to everything you do. All the passives you can get in here. Everything you can. But if you have to prioritize your passives, you'll want this crit chance, you'll want max magicka, anything that you can get within extra buffs like that, max stamina, everything like that. In here, you'll want the piercing for the penetration. That's your only other penetration outside of your sharpened. You'll want flawless ritual because of the increased chance to do chilled, and you want mage ward for the weapon spell to magical attacks. These are not necessary. If you have the room, put them in, whatever, but you don't have to have them. Alright, other passives are for healing. Blessed is always great, and then quick recovery, hardy, elemental aegis, preparation. These are all passives that are great to have. If you don't have them, is what it is. This build works really good in battlegrounds, which these are not active for, but in Cyrodiil we will be using them. I use deadly aim because it increases the damage done with a single target attack. That is your pop from your destructive reach, which is your main spammable. And again, that is a direct damage, which is buffed here by Master at Arms. I do use one defensive with an Ironclad, and that reduces your damage thing by direct damage attacks. That's the first part of certain DK abilities, not the tick damage, but other ones. It also, anything that you're doing direct. If you're battling somebody that's got the same build as you have right now, it's going to reduce it. Alright, then red tree. Here is whatever you really like. Do again all of your passives that you can afford, starting with max health, and that's your main one is max health. Other than that, Defiance, for your break free. But what I always use is I'm going to use Balanced Vitality for the max health. I'm going to use Fortified for the extra armor. And I'm going to use Celerity for the movement speed. Movement is key. Even with the Elusive Mist, you still want to be able to get away and position yourself well. Hasty is one of those necessary ones. Anything that you can get depending on your CP. But what you're going to slot first is going to be Celerity, Fortified, and Boundless. Then after that, Slippery is great. It auto breaks you free and it doesn't cost anything. With our lower stam, that is not a bad option. Currently, I am using Pain's Refuge. Reduces your damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects on you. Out there's so many DKs dotting you up with negative effects that I find this can be effective. But there's a lot of different options. Alright. In your green tree, use whatever you want. I would recommend fall damage for when you're jumping off of a keep. Other than that, do whatever you want. Alright. So, now we've gone over the character, we've gone over the equipment, traits, skills, everything like that. So now, basically I'm going to show you the rotation that you're going to be using to attack with. It is based off of your shocks and your stun. You want to hit your shocks and be able to get in there and stun. So it doesn't have to be one certain thing. The idea is, you know, you can hit your shocks, you get in here, you stun them, they get hit by the shocks, you clinch them, clinch them, clinch them, you can stun the rest of them, clinch them, clinch them, clinch them, clinch them, with some heavy attacks, and you'll see that my recovery is very good. You also can mist in to get a little bit of extra weapon and spell damage to start with. I'm going to bring a few over here. Keep your resolve up. So again, shock, mist, freeze them. Wait for the shocks again. You got 3 seconds, freeze them. Shocks come up, and bam, same old, same old. Basically, all these skills over and go. If you want to mist in, you're just going to get extra weapon and spell damage. But again, I use it mainly for an escape. So that is completely up to you on how you want to use it. But every time you use that destruction staff, you are getting that extra 600. Your Arctic Blast is also, you're in trouble, so it's still doing damage. But if you get in trouble, you can stun them and then mist out, get over here, get your heal up, prep for them, come around, if you get that idea. Now, the ultimate combo we will work on here after we clear these guys is going to be using this 500 ultimate. It is your, I'm going to wipe the group and love it. So, let's get some ads going that are going to chase me. Alright, I'm going to get out of here. Oh man, they're chasing me. What am I going to do? Alright, I get my vigor up, got my heal up. Are they here yet? Okay, so I'm going to shock, hit my Northern Storm, and just wreck everything. And there you go. That is your burst combo. Enjoy it. Now, if you don't want to be a vampire, I did want to go over this real quick. I will try to get vampirism down. So let me purify out. Okay. We are now at stage 2, so let me do this one more time. Alright, being at stage 1 now, we're going to take off our vampire escape, and we are going to use, again, the animal companion. Deceptive Predator, you use basically as you're going in or going out. You know, use it, you get the major expedition, making you faster. You also, on your character, will do a little bit more damage with the Deceptive Predator passive going into your animal companions, into your extra crit damage. So both are very good use. So you can use it. And then basically you're just spamming, waiting for your shocks again, stunning as they come up. Shocks do their trick, reapply shocks. Deceptive, you can see we're just repeating this. And this is the same against players. And the shocks are done. Okay. So either way is going to be great. You don't have the oh crap, I'm out of here type of thing. So like if we were in trouble, you know, oh, we're in trouble, all right, get our resolving up, we stun them, and then we're frozen, so we hit that, which frees us, and then we got to run away. Now the difference is this is taking stamina, which can be an issue compared to the vampirism, which is taking our magicka, which we have better recovery with. Alright, again, we're going to use our ult, freeze them, and wait for our shocks to finish them off. And there we go. Heavy attacks as needed. I usually try to spam a heavy attack between my reaches, my destructive reaches, because you can sort of time it where they hit at the same time. Freeze. Again, here we go. Shocks went off. Hit our shocks. Rush up and freeze them. And there you go. And that's pretty much the build. I'm sure I forgot something. I always do when I make my videos, so please ask in the comments. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel if you would. It's free, and it shows me that you want me to make more videos. Also, I am currently streaming 2 to 3 days a week on Twitch, so please come and hang out and ask questions. Again, the Twitch it's just JT. So again, I appreciate everybody for all the nice comments from the last video, and hopefully I'll have a new video for you soon. All right, thanks all.